This is the Arn Show. Paul Bromwell back with you all again. And as always, it's my privilege to introduce to you the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of the Spine Buster, the 1A Tag Team Wrestling. He's my tag team partner. He's Double A. He's the enforcer, Arn Anderson. Arn, can you believe this is the final show of 2025?
It's over. Years are gone, done. Where'd it go?
I have no idea. But just like that, here we are. And listen, we're going to have fun tonight because we're going to cover one of the most talked about events in wrestling. And I was talking to Marcus a little bit earlier on, and I said, we're going to close it with Hogan becoming the third man. And then next year, it's NWO coverage. So really excited about tonight, all things July 1996. Before we get into it, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. I wanted to check in with you and see how Greenville was last weekend and talk about what's coming this weekend in Pittsburgh. But how was Greenville?
What a great turnout. We had tried to run that town and that venue and those promoters 2 times over the past, they told me 7 years. I couldn't believe it. And both times it was bad weather. Now, we don't ever get like snow and ice, and to get it twice when we're running shows, what's the odds of that happening? And so we had a really good group of guys that were performing there. And we had great promotion from the company. So Tony showed up down there, Tony Hunter, and we had a really good time. And thanks to those folks, 3 Count is the promotion. Thanks for having us, and turned out really good.
Arn, I'm so glad to hear it. I know we advertised it last week. It was just last Tuesday we were on with Brock, and man, what a good time that show was. So I'm glad everything went smooth for you. But is this coming weekend your final appearance, right, of the year, the one in Pittsburgh?
It is. It's finality is like the word of the day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be at Animeverse, okay, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this weekend. That's right, the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just defeated Ryan's Miami Dolphins. Sorry, Ryan, you knew we were going to have a little fun with it tonight. But it is at the David Lawrence Convention Center. It's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You can catch Arn there. Arn, you're going to be doing some photo ops with the NWA TV title. A lot of your peers are going to be there. Sting's last appearance in full makeup. So this is going to be a good one. So if you're anywhere in driving distance, heck, flying distance, this is a big weekend to make sure you're out. Kurt Angle's going to be there, Trish Stratus, Ric Flair, and so many others. But Arn, I know a lot of fans are excited to see you, and looking forward to seeing you myself, buddy.
Yeah, me too, my man. You know, this is, I don't know how many of the guys and girls that are there can say they were there from the very beginning till the very end. Mm-hmm. So I am very honored to be one of those people that have seen the evolution of Sting and all the different phases and situations that it's not the right word.
No, but all the phases of his character through the years. Yeah.
Thanks for the pickup there. Absolutely. And all the phases that he went through on almost becoming a horseman, almost becoming this and that and the other. But in the end, he stayed true to his character, and Sting is still intact.
He is, for sure. And I mean, somebody just said it here in the chat. I have it pulled up over here. It just felt like he just announced that 2025 was going to be his last year. And here it is. This is the last appearance. It just went that fast for him. So it's a great opportunity. If you're in the area, like I said, to be able to see him in the full makeup. And you know what? The white hair with like the white and black, it's not I feel like he can just pull off everything. He's figured out a way to pull off all the looks over the years.
People love him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like he's Superman taking his cape off. I don't think they care. He's still Superman.
He'll still be Superman for sure. One other piece of business before we continue on, and that is the Four Horsemen shop. Arn, we were just talking about this, and we want to thank all of you is what we want to do, because we've seen an outpouring of orders come in. You can see specifically here some examples of some of the pieces, the winter wear, if you will, the hoodies and the sweatshirts and the quarter zips are also on there. And orders are coming through, whether your spouses are taking care of you or whoever, you're taking care of yourself. But we would just want to say thank you for supporting the Four Horsemen shop and Arn Anderson. Also, the comic is readily available as well. But if you're still looking for those last minute gifts, that's the place to go for all things Four Horsemen and Arn Anderson. Arn, the comic, continue to do well. I have it sitting right here for me. Always show ready with your autograph. And so make sure you get those orders in. But just really wanted to just leave some appreciation to everyone that supported you this year with the shop.
Can't thank you all enough. And it's nice to turn around and support Sting. This is his night. It's a big deal. I think we're all there for the same reason, to bid not farewell, but adieu.
Yeah.
For at least for a minute. But I got a feeling he's the kind of guy when he says, I'm retired, that's what he means. Now he could show up without the makeup somewhere, right? Just throwing it out there.
Sure.
But he won't have the makeup on, and that's what he identifies with. So
yeah, for sure. Well, guys, appreciate you all being here tonight. Four Horsemen Shop, check it out. Arn, are you ready to dig in a little bit? Well, maybe we'll start with a couple chats. We have some comments coming in, and I love to start with around the virtual living room with some of our great fans that are here and listeners, some of which we see here each and every time we log on to YouTube. So let's start with that, and then we'll jump into what we have to talk about. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, so let me check here. We got a few. Darth Payne kicks us off. Paul and Double A. My question is, did Double A think that tag team wrestling has changed a lot since the Crockett days for this 1996 time period? Now, Arn, at this point, you got the Steiners and Harlem Heat and the Nasty Boys and Public Enemy. So in your mind, had tag team wrestling, his question, changed a lot from those Crockett days to now, the days we're talking about here with 96?
The entire business has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think you can narrow it down to, of course, that applies to tags and tag teams, but just in general, the entire evolution of the wrestling business, it's a high wire act. And, a lot of guys and girls are putting their life on the line with a lot of this stuff that they do. And I have to watch with one eye open because it's just the high impact stuff that is being done these days scares me to death.
Yeah, no, for sure. Daisy Mama, she's there. Pit Bully Mama. Hey, Arn and Paul, truly enjoyed last week's show. Arn, do you think making Hogan the third man helped or hurt the business? We're going to get into that tonight. But, man, we had a blast last week with Brock. I was so appreciative of his willingness to be able to jump on and be a part of the show with us.
Yeah, I was glad to have him as well.
Yeah. We're going to get into that, though, Daisy Mama, and answer your question here as we get down the show. Ryan asked a question, I think, on everybody's mind, and it's around Cena's last match. He says he didn't agree with the finish. Why not have Cena go over since the whole show was about him? It wouldn't have hurt Gunther at all. Arn, I don't know what you've heard. You and I talked about, you didn't get to see it live, but any thoughts about Cena in general that you want to share as he is now officially done as an active wrestler?
Well, you can go either way. You can say, it was a bit of old school where when a guy's leaving a territory, you do the honors on the way out. That's one way of thinking about it. Another way of thinking about it, there are a few guys that have really put their time in, put their efforts in, and given their entire life to the business. That's another way you can go. I don't think it was a bad decision either way. Could have, just depends on your slant. But I guess it was just a hell of a night.
It was. They had Gunther go over. Gunther then on Monday Night Raw came out and was the heel of the century. I mean, booed out of the building. I think he needed security just to get out of the building Saturday night after Saturday night's main event. So when you talk about making a heel, red hot heel, it happened.
Yeah, and you cannot go wrong with that. That puts a butt about every 17 inches. heat,
You got that.
thrills.
And something that he can kind of always refer back to in his career, how he's the one who retired him. So it'll be interesting, though. I hear you, Ryan. It was a huge outcry on social media about the decision. I mean, Triple H heard it loud, from the arena crowd. It was something else. It was a spectacle for sure. Let's move on. The BUH 81. Arn and Paul, I'm at work again. Saturday night, I'll be in the ring announcing for Tennessee All-Pro Wrestling, Morrison Mayhem 7, our biggest show of the year, and we have Tommy Dreamer coming in. Man, listen, I hope you have a fantastic show, and congratulations to you doing the ring announcing. But here's a gentleman here watching the show, working for the Independents, Arn, having Tommy Dreamer come in. And Tommy's a good guy, right? He's the one who kind of helped Brock with his
He's a great
intro.
guy.
Yeah.
Tommy's a great representative of the industry. He's a straight shooter, tells the truth, calls it like he sees it. Veteran, has beat his body up for sure to the good of the business. So that's a huge catch for your show, buddy. Congratulations.
There you go. I want to make a quick comment here as we continue to go. I saw some feedback on YouTube from our last show that we covered June. Adam Worth 172317 said he finished the episode and he was kind of upset that he didn't get his question asked. I'd say a little bit more than kind of upset. Listen, Adam, come on back. Come to a live show. You have a question, I will do my best to find you and ask you. I know you hear a lot of familiar names. We have a lot of the same people that come back. And it's easier for Ask Arn almost anything. We can get a lot of questions in, but these shows where we cover these periods, there's a lot of content to get to. So I want you to make sure you do everything you can to get back here for a live show, and we'll get your question answered. You're a longtime fan, as you said, and we want to make sure you're taken care of, buddy. So I just wanted to say that real quick here. We have a super chat, and so let's get to it. $20. I love you both. Thanks for the time you guys take to bless us with your behind-the-scenes topics. Merry Christmas. And that's from S3CR3TS Squirrel. But man, appreciate you so much for showing up and wishing us a Merry Christmas and for supporting Arn with the super chat, man.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I hope you're enjoying the show as much as we do, but just remember it's you guys' show. We're just kind of guardians of it. Paul's like the big boss. I'm just kind of hanging out, having fun, but thank you for your support. We sure appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then Mediocre Warrior with a super chat. Merry Christmas Kwanzaa. So he covers all the holidays with one salute. So that's very crafty, Mediocre Warrior. Love you. Appreciate you always being a part of the show and appreciate the support for Arn with the super chat, man.
Politically correct on top of all that.
I mean, yeah, you can't beat it. So there you go. Awesome. Well, listen, we're happy to see all of you here. So many. I see Rob Hissam, Ryan, and many of you that we've seen. Chris Orlando is here. Happy holidays. Daniel Thompson is back with us. He has some questions, and we'll get to more questions. But I know that we want to get into the content a little bit here now and talk about July 1996 because there is so much going on. And I want to set the stage, Arn, because it felt like by this time in WCW, it was a powder keg. We've talked about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, their arrival, the Outsiders. They're showing up with baseball bats. They're holding the locker room at bay. Nobody really knows if it's real anymore. Is this a shoot? Is it, is it script? What's happening? It feels the most real that wrestling has ever felt was through this period with the NWO and the things they were doing. I mean, quite frankly, it's an awesome time for a fan because you're tuning in to see what's going to happen next. Hulk Hogan's still technically a part of WCW, but he's barely present. They're mentioning him at times, teases. He's almost like a shadow kind of in the background. But from your perspective and other wrestlers' perspective, can you take us back to what that backstage felt like? Did it feel chaotic? Was it exciting? Did it feel different with these few months here, May, June, July, when they first arrived, knowing the booking, I guess, was headed somewhere different with all this?
Well, it just felt like it was percolating. Felt like something was going to happen. It was teeter-tottering, and we were doing the right thing by stretching out the show every single week. So you only got just that much of what you thought the story was going to be. and traditional, just that much, which made you want to come back the next week. You couldn't wait to see what that next little piece was going to be. And it was, you knew something was going to happen, but nobody is going to be, insult the rest of us and say, well, I saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
It was just the whole setup when you go back and think of it. Kevin Nash at the Great American Bash, jackknife power bombing Eric Bischoff off the stage. This is stuff that we weren't used to seeing when a guy who was on the microphone, and if you were smart enough at that point reading the magazines and stuff, you knew Eric was in charge. They would frankly start to admit it on Nitro in the coming Nitros. And it was just different. It was crazy. It changed the temperature of the locker room. Everything was going on at this point. It was so much fun. And we get into the July 1st Nitro, where I'll start tonight, our story of July. It's the final Nitro before wrestling, I'll say, changes forever. It's in Landover, Maryland. And your buddy, Larry Zbyszko, casually says on commentary, there will be a new world order this Sunday in professional wrestling. Here he is. This is about the 3-minute and 30-second mark. Well, he's stating that. Now, Arn, this is prior to anybody saying that term, New World Order of Wrestling. Larry said it first. So my question for you is, when we talk about Larry, is he going to brag more about this, you think, in his retirement, or about him and his time with Bruno?
Oh, Arn, Bruno, Shea Stadium. The living legend in Bruno, sold out. Now, my question is, did Larry name him, or did Larry jump the gun?
It's funny. So later on, Eric's come out on 83 Weeks and said when he worked with Hogan, they worked in bullet points. They didn't do like scripting for when he came out to do his thing. But one of the terms that kind of rolled off his tongue was New World Order. He has now gone back and kind of followed and watched and saw that Larry the Monday before said it on Nitro and said, man, that must have been where it came from. Because early days, Bischoff's like, yeah, he came up with it. But now he readily admits Larry is the first one who said New World Order out of his mouth. Larry freaking Zbyszko.
Well, it don't take anything away from it.
I know. It's cool.
It is out of the blue, as that probably come off his lips, was no different than when I named the Horsemen.
Right there. Yep.
I still don't know what popped in my head and caused me to do that promo and use those. And Larry probably doesn't either. It's not language that he wouldn't use. And it just happened to fit this one like a glove.
He did it. And I'm glad that you said that, because it's kind of like in the moment. It was an in the moment thing, just like you did with the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and made the reference at that.
Yeah. And sorry not to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
It was just a nominal saying until what followed. Absolutely. And that made it so strong.
I wanted to show a picture real quick too. This is how you were living on the Monday Nitro, by the way. You guys, they had like a little VIP section for you. You had the drinks out. Gene Okerlund, always sniffing around with the microphone. Great interviews, by the way. He had some good stuff. If you haven't watched Bash at the Beach, there's one segment he does backstage with Flair and Woman and Miss Elizabeth, and it's a wild interview, to say the least. But I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes into the pay-per-view. But what a great picture here, a great scene. This is the Horsemen. To me, you think about Horsemen and the Crockett days and the original, but man, this felt like the rebirth. Your matching t-shirts, the logo, the 90s Horseman logo. Flair's the U.S. champion. And you guys are living in high style. And I love this picture.
Yeah, it's, to be honest with you, it's hard to watch for obvious reasons.
Absolutely. No.
Me personally, and we don't even have to go there.
I knew exactly what you said.
That's hard.
I think our listeners do too. So there it is. It was a very popular era though, in time for the Horsemen. And so you guys are all together doing your thing there. Let's get into Bash at the Beach. It's as I said, the night wrestling changed July 7th, 1996, Daytona Beach, Florida. 8,300 fans in the building, 250,000 buys on pay-per-view. and nobody truly knew what was about to happen. So let's walk through the card, Arn. I'll get some of your thoughts as we move through the card and into the main stuff as well. And I'm going to try to keep doing my best as I follow along here with the research. If you guys have questions that follow along as we go, we'll continue to try to maneuver those as best as I can as well. I love Rob has a mean by God gene. And Mediocre Warrior said, by the way, all that food on that table was probably using Macho Man's credit card. So
no. Savage has never spent a dime ever to this day.
Oh, that's good.
Forget it. Yeah, I'd like to think they got his credit card. I don't even know that he has a credit card.
No, that's good. That's good insight. I love hearing it.
He's tight as Dick's hat, man, buddy. Let me tell you.
Oh man, Sylvester Field says, by the way, can I just say I love you guys and the show. The Enforcer, Arn Anderson, you're my favorite wrestler. And he asked what we thought of the NWO. We're going to get into that, buddy. So thank you for being here. Guys and gals are having fun in the chat. So let's get into it. We're going to talk all things Bash at the Beach here. And we start off with Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis. Arn, the show starts fast, which we started to see a lot more in these days. They use the cruiserweights to set the tone. And I love how Mike Tenay is there. He's almost like he's kind of translating the moves they're doing and talking to us about Mexican wrestling and the importance of it and us understand what we're watching and the innovation and the moves. But Mysterio Jr. wins. He defeats Psychosis. But what a way to kick off a show with Rey Mysterio, who, by the way, still getting his done, and his son is seeing major success in the WWE now, and Psychosis. What are your thoughts on those two guys?
I had never seen anything like it because I had never worked Mexico. I had never seen that lucha stuff to that extent. Mm-hmm. I just sat there with my jaw on the ground. Just how do you even think to come up with those spots and then go out and be able to perform them? It's one thing to picture them in your head. Now you got to pull it off in front of a live crowd, and boy, did they. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they were absolutely incredible. That match alone is worth just turning it back on and watching it, which I hope many of you do after we talk about it. You hear Arn's perspective. Now up next, John Tenta versus Big Bubba, two big boys. John Tenta wins. It's a silver dollars on a pole match. What do you think of these types of on a pole match? The danger of gimmick matches. I mean, first of all, these are two big dudes trying to climb a pole to get to a bag of silver dollars. Do you think it helps a story? Does it work against them? What are your thoughts on it?
I hate it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it? No, don't want to expand on it?
No, I mean, that whole thing on the pole,
Buff's mom on a pole.
Miner's glove on a pole, whatever it is. It's just one of those additions that I'm not sure the business needed or that it makes the business any better.
Speaking of gimmick, yeah, I know. Go ahead. I want you to finish your thought.
No, I just, I hate to be like a humbug. It sounds like Ole sitting here, but it's.
That's our new line, by the way. Thank you, Mediocre Warrior.
I just don't feel like it adds anything to the business. You can ask our fans and friends and people listening how they feel about it, but I don't think it adds anything to anything, period.
Yeah, people are bringing up Russo because he usually had something on a pole. You sure Vince Russo didn't write that pole match? Nah, he wasn't around back then. Ryan said gimmick matches can be really good if they're done right. It's just unfortunate that most of them are not done right.
Two guys over 350 pounds climbing a pole, probably not your best choice, is it?
Daniel Thompson said it was the shits, as Ole Anderson might have said.
Well said.
There you go. I like it. All right, let's keep going because we got a full card here. Up next, Diamond Dallas Page, who's still coming to his own here. He's starting to, get a little bit of hype. He's taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and DDP defeats him. It's a tape fist match, and so that's what we had there. He's actually trying to fight him for a ring at this point. He's looking for a ring. The Nitro before, he's running around. Who stole my ring? Who took my ring? Well, it was Hacksaw. I don't know what the infatuation was with the, without going into super detail. I watched all these Nitros, by the way, and the Bash on Saturday. So I had a full day at WCW. But, Page is doing some character building here. This is all what I call the progression of DDP till he would finally break through into the star that we'll see him come here in the months to come. But did you feel like, hey, we're starting to feel like he's building momentum around this time period?
Yeah, he got a chance, and you could tell he was making the most out of it.
Yeah.
I felt like, he's working really, really hard and working his way up the, up the ladder. And you could feel that his position was getting better and stronger as the show went on.
Yep, for sure. Yep. And you can see that as we're moving at a quicker pace going through these months. So it helps to just see his involvement and how it's happening as you go back and watch this. Next step was the Nasty Boys and Public Enemy. I talked about the tag teams earlier. Talk about involvement of tag teams. Buddy, they defeated Public Enemy in a double dog collar match. And I'm telling you, it was just 4 brawlers kicking ass. It was chaos. How do you feel about matches like this? I mean, as a wrestler and a fan, it feels like a nice, fun shift and change in the card. Doesn't always have to be, 99 technical moves. It was good.
They catered to guys that was the best way to show their talents, all 4 of them.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Ricky Steamboat deep arm drag in that match, you're not going to get it, and nor should you.
Right. We don't want that. We want 4 guys beating the hell out of each other, some fun table spots, and that's what you got in this match. So it was a lot of fun. We moved on and to the complete opposite. So as you're thinking about building a card, booking matches, it only makes sense to have Dean Malenko wrestle after that match, Arn. And you have Dean against Disco Inferno. It's a submission with the Texas Cloverleaf. That was a move that we didn't see in the Nasty Boys match. But I want to ask you a question about Dean because he's technically gifted. There's no doubt about it. Great man. I know you're friends with him now to this day. How much does promo ability really matter compared what a person like him does bell to bell?
Well, Dean was so far advanced. He was another guy that I had never seen work in the States until I went to Japan and saw him over there. And again, that's like the Rey Mysterio and Psychosis match. My jaw hit the ground and I went, where has this guy been? How come I don't know about him? It's a little pompous, but I thought when you got guys as like Fit Finley that know about talent that are as extreme as Dean, and polished and different from anything I'd ever seen, where's this guy been?
Yeah. Well, that's how you felt watching him on your TV screen. I didn't see him as a kid. I didn't see him in WWF. And now all of a sudden it's the man of 1,000 holds, and he's like a really good technical wrestler. To your point, where did he come from? If you're not really watching, over to Japan or what have you, he was phenomenal.
I was in the mix pretty much of the business about as deep as you could be. And I didn't know about him,
Yeah, for sure. Nah, he was phenomenal. But do you think the promo side for a guy like that, it doesn't matter? I mean, Brad Armstrong, right? I think about him and his technical ability.
I think it does matter.
Do you? Okay.
Brad Armstrong with his talent, if he would have had the mic skills, that a lot of top guys possess, when you got ability to work like he could, when you looked as good as he did. I mean, the guy was in shape, tremendous. And if he could have put that last layer over of talking them into the building, what a megastar you would have had.
For sure. And so it was great to see Dean here at Disco doing his thing and his dance moves. We then move on to Mongo, who I know you have great affection for, Arn, worked with him for many years. This would be his first pay-per-view as a Horseman, and he would defeat none other than longtime friend of Ric Flair, Joe Gomez. And it was just them one-on-one. Mongo joined the Horsemen, which was great. Do you remember, was there any of you that kind of talked to him behind the stage, talk about building a match, moves, anything like that during this period? Or was he just, hey, I'm going to go out and we're going to call the match in the ring and I'll work with Joe and he's been doing this for a while? Do you remember kind of any of that conversation with him?
I just remember thinking how unfair it is for two guys to have such good hair.
I love it. I love it.
I don't have a strand anywhere. And those two guys, think about it now. Joe had the best hair in the history of the business. Still does. Mongo, not bad.
No, he had a nice long ponytail.
Yes, he did. And he could comb it out and lay it down his back. It was pretty outstanding, I would say.
This is my favorite, and this is why I love talking to you, because we're like, talk to me about the move set and the building the match. And then you're like, man, their hair just really pissed me off, is what I think of that match.
Had heat with me, that's for damn sure.
I love it. Oh, man. So listen, Mongo gets his first showing on pay-per-view, gets a win. He continues to go on. We move on. It's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. He's the U.S. champion. He defeats Conan. He defeats Conan to win the U.S. champion. I think I said earlier he was the U.S. champion at this time. This is the pay-per-view. This is the event that he wins the U.S. championship. He then is obviously for the rest of the Nitros for July. But I mean, Arn, putting the gold around Nature Boy's waist, it communicates credibility. I'm sorry, it just does. But putting the gold around someone like Ric Flair, what would that immediately tell the audience?
That now that's as important as anything else in your company.
Bingo.
Here's a neon sign. This now became a big deal.
It is. It elevates the title right away to a key main player. You know, Hogan, well, he's going to come back. We know what happens here, and he's going to take on the Giant at Hog Wild in August. He's in that picture. But now you've got Ric Flair with the U.S. championship belt. So it's elevated and has that swagger. So it
becomes something entirely different.
It does. It does. We then have you in a tag match, you and Chris Benoit versus the Giant and Kevin Sullivan. The Giant and Kevin Sullivan, our buddy, defeat you guys. And it is with the Giant pinning you after you take a hellacious choke slam that you're probably still feeling to this day, Arn.
Why do you think I'm sitting here talking to you and everybody else? It could have very, very easily just been the end.
Arn, I got to say this. If you go through and people watch this, here are the people, and we're going to touch on them, but this is, you're doing this pay-per-view, you wrestle and take a choke slam from the Giant. One of the Nitros coming up, you're going to wrestle Sting in the main event. Another Nitro coming up, you're going to wrestle Ming, the Destroyer, okay? The last Nitro of this month, you're being destroyed backstage. This is a big month for Arn Anderson. You're all over the place here. So just wanted to let you know, you're all through the headlines.
I am a master of making monsters.
Oh man, it is something else. Well, before we get
that's my job. That's my job description. I make monsters.
But you have to have that credibility to do it. And you had it. And you still walked out of those monsters maintaining that credibility.
I think the key is them not knowing 100% if I was going to get throttled. They assumed I was. They thought I was, the way the other guy was used. Now, if I would have been used and pushed the way he did and we had that same matchup, some people would have went, well, shit, I don't know. Oh, how this going to turn out.
It's fun watching it back now that I absolutely get to work with you and do this show, because obviously I'm more laser focused in on what's Arn doing here, what's his activity, who's he's wrestling. Whereas as a kid, you're growing up and you're just kind of caught up on who's wrestling next and whatnot. But you're able to sit back and really realize how you, because I'm dialed in on you, how they're using you in these shows. And that is exactly right. They were using you. I don't want to say using, but you were a guy they counted on. I'll put it that way, to help build with these major storylines and these major heels, or in some cases faces. You were just that guy a lot back in these days.
Well, that's our terminology on the inside of the business. Using you, please use me. Why are they using him that way? It's, if you don't understand what it means, we're all there to be used. We're all pieces of a chess game.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's not, and used is not, to your point, used, we're not saying used in a bad way. They're
It's
using
not a negative.
Yeah, right.
It's just the way we speak.
Sure. All right, let's get into it because we got some fun stuff here. We're going to get to the main event, and I have some photos that I want to share as well because these guys were ready. It's Sting, Luger, Macho. What do you think of the face paint? Form of solidarity there, huh?
Cool.
Yeah.
Felt like it was going to be a good night for the good guys.
It really did. It really did. And then, so we'll get into it. We have Sting, Luger, and Savage. It's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And what happens is Luger's knocked out of this early. He kind of climbs on a turnbuckle, kind of hanging over it. Sting does a splash, and there's some, interference with I believe Nash at the time. I'm doing this from memory from watching on Saturday. But Luger kind of gets knocked out, falls outside the ring, and he's out of it. So it's almost like a 2-on-2 match. But things start to break down, get wild. We're not sure what's happening. And then all of a sudden, we see someone come out to the ring in the red and yellow, and it's none other than Hulk Hogan. And in that moment, we're like, oh, the fans are cheering. Everybody's excited. The one thing I noticed watching it that I kind of wish was a little different, but it is what it is. This has already happened, was Heenan said, could he be the third man or something to that effect, planting the seed or bringing it up in you, the fan's mind of, oh, I didn't even think of that. I almost kind of wish that wouldn't have just been said at all and just kind of let it play out for us to just then see. But Heenan mentions it a little bit. He does come down to the ring, and Buddy, he backs up and drops the freaking leg on his longtime best friend, obviously adversary at times too. But man, what a major shift in the business. The leg drop heard around the world. And it was fun, Arn, because I was watching this, and we're talking about the DDP match. We're talking about your tag match. And I'm watching this crowd, and I'm thinking, this crowd has no idea how unglued they're about to become at the end of the show. And I would have never guessed, just looking at this crowd, that they are going to trash this ring with the amount of garbage that they're about to throw into this ring. They're going to have that kind of visceral reaction. Just, again, knowing what we know. But, man, that is what happened. He comes out. He's mocking the crowd, running his mouth, Nash and Hall parting, and trash starts flying. And I'll throw the picture up again, poor Mean Gene Okerlund has to come down, try to get an interview with him. He does. He's getting soaked. The ring is getting drenched. People are just mortified. The announcers are selling it perfectly, Tony Schiavone and et cetera. But I want to ask you, when did you know or hear that this was happening with Hulk Hogan?
Same time you did.
You had no idea.
Did you see it live?
Oh, yeah. I was watching the pay-per-view live.
And I am absolutely 100% with you that I would like to have them to not have alluded him being the third man, because the people that are sitting home who are glued to their TV would have picked up on that. I bet you if you went back and got a true answer, did you smell a fish when he said that, when Bobby Heenan said that, there would be a fair amount of people that went, wait a minute, they're going to do something here.
Yeah. Heenan just saying that was like, dude, no, don't. But it's okay. I love him. It is what it is, and it didn't really affect anything that happened. But I just wish that seed thought wouldn't have been there.
Hogan came down. If he could have left the cat in the bag, because in essence, what he did is when he dropped that leg, he took a big glass of liquor and threw it in the audience's face and just insulted everybody. And the people that were in the crowd didn't hear Bobby Heenan's comment.
True.
It was still a shocker to them. And when they realized they had just got hit in the face with a drink, if you've ever had anybody throw a drink in your face, it freezes you initially.
Yeah.
Then you start to realize what just happened. Then you get pissed. Then somebody goes to the hospital. That's the sequence of events. That's what you saw fold in front of you. But there were some people at home Cat out of the bag.
And I see, and Warrior Mediocre said it, and he said, right, listen, but Heenan is always, the guy that shits on Hogan. Totally get it. So, of course, he stayed in character saying, could it be him? But I didn't want to hear that. Going back and watch, I would prefer not to heard it at that point. It is what it is. Like I said, it all worked out just fine. It's just an element of total shock and awe that I thought about, that I wanted to talk with you about it. And he had been shitting on Hogan since the AWA, Daniel. So it was, well played in that respect. But man, what a time, Arn. The kids, the prayers, the vitamins, all of it. It was like flush down the toilet. Tony Schiavone and his comments, "You can go to hell." One of the best all-time calls. Go straight to hell, Hulk. It was just a moment in time, man, for wrestling fans.
That felt legitimate, 100%. You can go to hell.
Yeah. When commentary acts as emotionally as those guys did, and all of a sudden, that's the first time I heard Tony Schiavone say, quote unquote, a swear word, right? Hell, go to hell, or what the hell, whatever. He was always Mr. Vanilla. So that's when you're like, whoa, this is something big. How much does that help to sell a moment like that?
Well, when Hogan started down the aisle, somebody said, Hulk Hogan's here. Tony said, you're damn right he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Announcers don't do that. They don't have, a opinion or a side on something. They may have a thought about what they think, but it's usually announcer's job just to talk about what they see, not what they feel.
Yeah. Man, it was so good. And then talk about the new life that this just breathed right into Hogan's career, because man, it did. He needed a freshen up, to say the least. And so I want to ask you about the new life, and then I'll follow it up and say, was he a better heel or babyface?
Who, Hogan?
Hogan.
Oh, he's much better babyface.
Okay. But how much did this refresh his career?
It refurbished, it set the entire industry on its ear.
Yeah.
Every other company that had absolutely nothing to do with what we were doing or whatever, all benefited from it. It was just like the business became something entirely different.
And I love that you said that, because you said the business benefited. Arn, you benefited. Ric Flair benefited. Everybody benefited that worked for WCW, right?
Everybody that was a wrestler in any fight, from the smallest independent show,
sure,
wrestling was on everybody's lips. Did you see what they did with Hogan?
Yeah.
It was on fire. The business was on fire. And that night, it didn't take forever to flame up. It was on fire when that show was over. Business was on fire.
It's like a team, and you're all playing different parts, but you want the team to succeed. And all of a sudden, it's like everybody should have just been popping the corks when they realized how big this was going to be for wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
benefited for years afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. The company did, the merch, the ratings, everything just tore off. And we're going to get into that next year and have a lot of fun with it. But Michael Jensen, again, things are moving fast here in the chat. He said, I might be wrong, but I think it even hit Sports Center. It was that big. So I'm sure it got some kind of coverage with Hulk Hogan becoming the bad guy. That was big news, pop culture news. So
absolutely.
It was good stuff. Let's go on and we'll talk a little bit. I have some, let's go to some super chats here, because I know we've been waiting. Michael Jensen, I'm going to pop you up first. He is here and he says, guys, first of all, thank you, Michael. Just wondering what the wrestlers' guesses were back then on who the other guy could have been, assuming that no one knew it was Hulk. So, Arn, were you guys even talking in the back thinking, hey, who do we think the third man's going to be?
I'd hoped not. But I thought possibly, who else would have had that kind of impact? Who would have broke that many hearts? You immediately think Sting.
Okay. So you thought, and that's who? For
a fleeting moment, and I went, no, it's got to be somebody else. I mean, too much time invested in him.
Yeah.
Sir Galahad suddenly turns into the fire-breathing dragon. Just didn't feel like it fit.
So outside of Sting, you really had no real tangible.
Not have a clue, but was hoping and praying there was going to be someone from somewhat outside the business, outside the company,
Yeah, like
And it
more
was a
WWF.
real shocker.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for.
Was there a buzz backstage from other wrestlers, like trying to figure it out? Do you recall it all back then? Or was it just like, hey, we got our own job to do. We'll see what plays out?
Well, I was running the show, so I didn't have a chance to be stopping
Okay.
and hobnobbing. I was running, doing everything. I was doing about 3 jobs.
Oh, okay.
God almighty, 3 jobs at that point in time. I'm
What do
sure
you
there
remember?
was.
Yeah, what do you remember doing for this show? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, I was an agent on every show for years, plus wrestling in the main event. I
Sure.
would have to go and set up all the finishes, times, you name it.
So you're doing that. You're wrestling on the card and probably just getting up people organized in the back then with their matches and their finishes. Okay.
Assisting guys that were stuck, that needed something, needed a spot, needed a finish, needed something. Hey, what do you think about this? What would you do here? I mean, it was like when you're an agent/producer, you were available to the company and to the boys 100% of the time you're at work.
So before your tag match, you're doing the job. After your tag match, you're right back at it.
Right back at it.
Man, something else. We have one more super chat I'll get to, and then we'll continue on because I got some stuff for the Nitros post this show. And this is Star Dog Productions 4391 with a $50 super chat, Arn.
Wow. Thank you.
I know. My goodness. Arn and Paul, I watch weekly and just wanted to wish you both, your families, a Merry Christmas. My goal in 2026 is to meet you, shake your hand, and say thank you for a lifetime of entertainment, Arn. You're on my Mount Rushmore of the greatest ever.
Where do you live, kiddo?
Yeah, my goodness.
Where's your home?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be around out close to where you are, and we can make that happen.
Yeah, just let us know, Stardog Productions, and man, but that would be fantastic, and that is very kind of you. What a great super chat, and I see there's other folks chiming in as well. Let's see here before we go back to what else happened. We have some time here. Rob Hissam says the greatest agent ever. Listen to me, or you receive a spine buster. Sylvester Fields, Arn, did you benefit from Hogan turning heel and starting the NWO? I think he just said it. I think the whole business benefited from it, right?
Everybody, from the smallest independent shows to the biggest companies on earth. They heard about it. It was a shot heard around the world. Japan found out about it. Australia, it went all over the world. It was the biggest thing that ever happened to the business.
Trev Fecta said, as a kid, like everyone else, I loved babyface Hogan, but Hogan's psychology as a heel was brilliant. Those are the matches of his that I actually watch now, this day. Good point.
He was better than everybody gave him credit for being.
No one thought. I don't think anybody thought he would be that huge of a heel, and he did it. Daniel Thompson says, I remember reading about Sting being the original choice for the third man in Eric's book. And yep, that was definitely a mediocre warrior. I still think Mabel being the third man would have been fire. Did you hear about that rumor about them thinking about making Mabel from the WWF?
I bet it was a fleeting thought.
Oh, man.
Were you talking about popcorn fart? Now, that's no disrespect to him, but anybody less than superstar status would have been a huge mistake.
Stardog Productions says, I'm in Nebraska. I got to travel to you, Arn. Ha, ha, ha. So there you go. You don't have anything planned for Nebraska, do you?
No.
So
we'll figure it out.
We'll get it done. Ryan says people still wear NWO shirts to this day. They still sell. Go to Homage. People are buying hoodies at the NWO, t-shirts. By the way, I love their stuff. If you're not buying from Four Horsemen shop, go to Homage. They got some great gear. Man, unbelievable. All right, let's go back to what happens after, because we got more to cover. The night after Bash at the Beach, Hogan does not appear. Instead, the show builds around nobody else but Arn Anderson. You wrestle him in the main event. As I said, Arn, this is a big month for you. Sting would win with the Scorpion, but the story doesn't end there. Hall and Nash arrive in the limousine. And this has all happened, by the way, at Disney MGM. The rest of this month is all Disney MGM. I don't know if you have any fond memories of working at Disney MGM Studios back in those days. If you liked it, didn't like it, what you thought. Let's start there. Any thoughts about working there, those Nitros?
Well, when we were filming TV, it was one thing. In the morning, early in the morning, we'd do 3 or 4 shows during the course of the day. But when you had that live Nitro, it had a whole different feel, and it was outdoors, and
Yep.
you get a fresh crowd every hour or whatever it was. But it was, yeah, I enjoyed going down there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and this was the rest of the month. As I said, you took on Sting. Macho Man joined you and Sting in the ring. Once they arrive, security keeps them out. Sting grabs the microphone and cuts one of the sharpest promos of his career. And it ends by telling Hulk Hogan that he needs to stick it. But I mean, listen, in situations like this, him kind of being absent, do you feel like that helps to build heat? Is that what they're trying to do? Because I think he was doing Thunder in Paradise, or he had something going on, but he couldn't be there that first night afterwards.
I didn't even recall that. So that's even better. If you do something that phenomenal, lack of a better term, and now you're not there to get called on the carpet, I think that adds to it and makes it even more mysterious.
And then he shows up the next Monday. So we move on to July 15th. Hogan returns, and the temperature in the building, I can tell you this, having watched it, changes immediately. Hall and Nash, they were WCW letters set up on the way they had MGM set up that you could see on television, kind of on a stage. Hall and Nash cover it with the letters NWO. They use like some big sheets or some sign to cover those letters. So you could see their effect on the show. They're sitting up there with drinks and in chairs, having a good old time. It's annoying the crap out of Eric Bischoff. You wrestle, this is the show, Ming, the uncrowned and undefeated world champion that you always love to talk about. What do you call him? The human Vegematic?
Yes. Anything he wants, that's what I call him.
You go 11 minutes with him, and it ends because they just wouldn't let him mess with you. They have Barbarian hit you from behind while the ref's not looking, and then Ming gives you the old savate kick right under the chin for the pin. So that's how that match goes.
That'll do it. That would just about do it.
Yeah. And then by the end of the night, Hogan is in the ring saying he's bigger than wrestling, that he made wrestling. He's calling out Sting and Savage. The crowd rains more trash as the show goes off the air with you and others surrounding the ring. You come out. I think the Steiners were out there. And but man, it just continues to build. But the crowds are now all into this throwing of trash when Hogan and them. What were your thoughts around that? Were you like, okay, this is some serious nuclear heat? You remember the days of the Crockett's where, people, I think, people got cut and stuff back then, but now this is just trash raining in. What were you guys' thoughts about all that?
Well, I thought, number one, that end with some of that paper cups and water bottles and all that stuff that won't kill you. There were people throwing coins, batteries, little AAA batteries. You name it. It got real dangerous because it wasn't the audience just playing a role and being part of the show. They were pissed.
Yeah.
They had been defiled, put their faith in somebody and supported him all those years, and now he shoved it up their keister. They were pissed.
It was something, man. There were bottles of beer being chucked in. Ryan, I saw you throw that in the chat. It was a lot. It was crazy. Gene was just getting I can't believe he was still going in the ring trying to do interviews at this point. But you have that going on. We move on. There's 2 more Nitros this month, July 22nd. They're no longer attacking wrestlers. They're attacking the show itself. You see Hall and Nash take over the control room. They're telling the guy in the control room where he needs to, have the cameras go. They throw out, production. Camera operators are told what not to shoot. You're once again in the main event. Arn Anderson, I'm telling you, you were big time. You teamed with Benoit and Mongo against Sting, Luger, and Savage. And then at the same time, you have Hogan, who's targeting the Giant, and he's coming after the world title. So again, these are turns as we're going of things that have never been done before. And Bischoff and they are all working together to come up with this amazing creative. You're producing. What were your thoughts? Were you just all gung ho for, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it right, and let's do some stuff that we haven't done on television before?
Well, yeah, we're all on the same team. There were some brilliant minds putting some cool stuff together, and everybody was pulling together, and everybody saw kind of, okay, this is where they're going, man. Let's go balls out. Let's go for it.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about the meltdown. And I have some pictures from this. It's July 29th, one of the most memorable Nitros ever. The entire show is absolute chaos. Speaking of going balls out, they show Hall and Nash standing over you, Marcus Bagwell with baseball bats. Scotty Riggs is laid out, and Rey Mysterio comes out of the trailer. And buddy, he jumps on to Kevin Nash, and Kevin Nash takes him, and as the famous quote, he throws him like a lawn dart into that trailer. It's a spot people still talk about to this day. I mean, what a visual for us to see. Look at this, Arn.
Like a bug hitting the windshield. And it was just ugly enough that it wasn't 100% real.
Yeah. I mean, this is a completely new way of telling stories. And it changed quickly, because now it wasn't baby faces versus the bad guys. It became everybody, whether you're a heel, the Horsemen, whether you're Rey Mysterio and the Steiners, everybody kind of banded together because you all were getting laid out, Arn. All of a sudden, you're back there. You're clenching and writhing in pain. You can see woman kind of making sure that you're okay. Here's another shot, just her holding it and just screaming and crying. You're selling that arm. I mean, you are in pain, writhing in pain. What a moment. It just took over the entire show. Eric's gone on to say they literally called the police in the area because of the chaos that they were hearing. And the real police officers, not the gimmick ones, were coming in and coming, to the park. It was just an absolute incredible scene. They had standby matches that they had to go to. You end up in the same ambulance as Bagwell. Sting gets in the ambulance, Flair's in the ambulance with woman and you. You're all in the same ambulance together. Talk about blurred lines. It was incredible.
Something you thought you would never see, and you would have never seen it. If it hadn't happened, this deal went down, and it was just so quirky and so, God, that's got to be real. Oh, God, that's got to be real. It just was choppy. It was grainy. It looked like, that couldn't even be on TV. It was to that point, and it sold you on the whole deal.
It was something. Somebody said in the chat, we got to get out of here. In JR's voice, you could absolutely hear him calling that. But people are saying, listen, it scared the hell out of me. People loved it. Ray got crushed. Smart booking, having it being Ray. Absolutely. Woman is screaming and, on Arn's behalf. It was absolute chaos. And it was interesting because you had just wrestled Sting a Nitro or two before in the main event. Now he's in the same ambulance with all of you, riding the hospital together.
That was the most damning thing. If you looked at it, Flair and Sting and me and Buff all in the same ambulance.
Yeah.
You just think about that. I mean, that would have never happened before this.
Stardog with a great point. I wonder if they all talked about how cool that angle was once that ambulance got going. Do you remember anything about the ambulance ride?
Oh, shit, yeah. I mean, everybody, you were still selling. You were kayfabing because you had ambulance drivers driving it. You weren't going to let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
You kayfabed all the way to the bitter end.
Oh man! So you just completely start. So the ambulance driver just thinks he's got real patience.
He's got casualties in the back. Yep.
Oh my God, this is amazing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was cool as shit to be part of. I mean, it's a moment in time that will never be duplicated. It was stout.
So in your mind, WCW's ability to take what happened on Bash at the Beach and continue this as we start to put a cap on the end of the show in July, and the angles that they were running was the French kiss. It was top shelf booking was happening at this point. No doubt about it.
Once again, brilliant minds were all pulling the same way, pulling the wagon, but instead of pulling this way and this way, it was let's all pull the same way, man. Everybody pitch in. We got something special here.
Arn, you said it best when you said this period didn't just change WCW, it changed wrestling forever, the entire business. So, man, unbelievable. Mediocre Warrior, yes, they actually called the police. I've heard that before. Some other folks validated here as well in the chat. People were recalling Andy Kaufman and, you know, how that was all felt so real back in the days with him and Lawler, another angle you think about, and the realism and them going on Letterman and all that good stuff. But Daniel Thompson, one of the few nights that Sting and Flair put their differences aside, you know, with Arn. You never saw that before. You never did. That's why it was wild. It was such a good time. And listen, guys and gals, we want you to all come back. We're going to do this show again. We're going to get together and talk about all things August of 96. The momentum is growing big time. We're going to get together Tuesday, January the 6th. So the next few weeks, Arn and I are going to enjoy some holiday time, Christmas, Happy New Year. All the holidays that Mediocre Warrior mentioned are going to be celebrated. But I want you all to mark your calendars for Tuesday the 6th at 6 p.m. It's August 96, Hog Wild at Sturgis. I cannot wait to get your memories of the Sturgis show. The NWO is taking over. Hogan's fighting the Giant for the championship. And WCW is no longer playing by the old rules. And we're going to talk about what the environment was like and how fast business shifted. And it's going to be a fun ride. But Arn, before we get out of here, I know that we want to just share with all of our listeners and everybody that's here with us live that we hope you guys have the greatest time around the holidays. And we appreciate you all so much, don't we, Arn?
Do something for somebody you don't even know. Do something nice, guys. We need some goodness in the world, and we need it now. So thank y'all. We appreciate you so much. It's your show. We're just tagging along. Thanks for joining in and making it interesting.
Someone said, Rob, can't leave this year without seeing the mascot. Is Smokey around, or
Smoke is in there by the fireplace flat, I think.
Oh, he's knocked down.
He's zonked.
So there you go. All of you, we can't thank you enough for being here with us tonight. A wrestling historian earlier in the show, we talked about his initial reaction to Hogan's heel turn. He just sent in a super chat, but you were shocked, right, Arn, as far as that goes?
I was shocked as everybody else. I had no premonition at all. And the one I had was not correct.
Man, what a great time in wrestling. But again, thank you all so much. We'll see you again Tuesday, January 6th. With that, that's going to wrap us up for 2025. We're going to have fun talking all things NWO. We're going to have some guests back with us in 2026. More Ask Arn's Almost Anythings in 2026, and do some more appearances. Arn, I hope to get out there with you a little bit more in 2026.
Hope so too, buddy. The main thing we want to leave the show with today, guys, if you can drive to Pittsburgh, get there.
There you go.
There's another moment in time that you don't want to miss. You want to be a part of.
Absolutely right. Come see us in Pittsburgh. We'll have a great time. Thank you, Stardog, and thanks all of you. We love you. And we'll see you right here in 2026 on Arn.